Hey my fellow Av Geeks, welcome back to Andrew's Aviation. I hope you're all ready for another exciting video, because today I'll be continuing my journey throughout Europe. This time we'll be flying on Lufthansa's A321 from Frankfurt to Stockholm, Sweden. It'll be a good chance to check out Lufthansa's medium-haul economy class. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'll pick up where I left off last week. At this point, I had just flown to Frankfurt from Chicago on Lufthansa 747-8. That was probably the best flight I've ever taken, and I'll admit I was a bit spoiled by the decency of Lufthansa's long-haul economy class. So I was very excited to be flying with Lufthansa again. But to get to our flight, we had to walk over to Concourse A from Concourse Z. And the main thing I noticed when I was walking through is the emphasis that European airports seem to put on buying things, such as the duty-free shops that they make you go through after customs. But the funny part about that is that the duty-free shops was one of the only places where you could shop or buy food in the airport, because as you can see down this hallway, there's nothing but gate waiting areas. There's nothing wrong with this design, but I just like to point out how different it is from American terminals, or at least from other terminals, because I haven't been to every terminal of Frankfurt. Eventually though, I did find a good restaurant and decided to get a little snack before my flight to Stockholm. But soon, we were boarding, and instead of walking down the jet bridge to our aircraft, we walked down the stairs and onto the road where a bus was waiting to take us to a remote stand. This is honestly the first time I've ever done something like that. And I think I like this process better than just boarding by the jet bridge, because we got to drive by many long-haul aircraft such as the A380, 747, 767, A340, and many others that you wouldn't really get to see up close if you just boarded the jet bridge. Eventually, after driving through all the rest of the remote stands, we came upon our beautiful A321 aircraft, registered as Delta Alpha India Romeo November, nicknamed Kaiserslautern. It has been in service for 23.7 years, and had its first flight on October 30th, 1995. For this flight, my seat was in the rear of the aircraft, and I had the rare opportunity, as compared to operations in America, to board through the rear exit. I apparently found out that this is actually a pretty common practice in Europe, and I can't wait to do it a few more times during my trip here. Once on board, I walked over to my seat 23A, which is just over the wing. This gave me a great opportunity to get a great wing view and some views of the outside world. So if you're ever flying the A321, know that around this area, about 23 row, 22, 24, is a good place to take pictures. As the rest of us were being seated, the flight attendant noticed me taking a lot of pictures and videos and invited me up to the cockpit. This gave me a great opportunity to talk to the first officer and learn more about European aviation. And if any of you Av Geeks are still watching and you're flying Lufthansa within Europe, go ahead and ask one of the flight attendants to let you up, because there's a good chance they might already see you taking pictures and videos and let you up themselves. I also got really lucky when I came back from the cockpit. I found out that I had the whole row to myself. And like last time during pushback, announcements were made in both German and English. One similarity I found between Frankfurt International and Chicago O'Hare is that the taxi can take a really long time depending on where you are. But that's something to be expected because you're in such a big airport. Super speedy seat review. So first, we have our seat amenities. In the seat back pocket, you'll find everything you need in a little pouch, which includes your safety information card, your in-flight magazine, which is the same as last time, a barf bag, and a shopping magazine where they pretty much just try to sell you a bunch of stuff. The seat back pouch on these seats isn't very big or stretchy. It could just barely fit my water bottle, but not much else. The legroom here is probably the best part of the seat. It's very, very generous compared to American carriers, and I can accurately look at it because I don't have my backpack right in front of me. Lufthansa doesn't offer pillows on their short-haul flights, but I had kept my pillow from the last long-haul flight I had just taken, so that was nice to have. The tray table here is nice because it has 2 cup holders, it's easy to fold and put away, and it spans the size of the seat. The only real downside of the seat is that it doesn't have any power outlets to charge your electronics. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid economy class seat, but it's not just about the seat, it's about the service, so let's check that out too. When the flight attendants came around, they surprised me by serving sandwiches instead of your regular pretzels and cookies. Out of their 2 options of turkey or cheese, I decided to go for a turkey sandwich. Sorry to any vegetarians. And I have to say, for a little sandwich on an airplane, it was surprisingly tasty. After sandwiches, the flight attendants came back around and served drinks. Lufthansa offers many different kinds of beer, soda, wine, juice, and others. I of course opted for a Coca-Cola because I really needed the caffeine. Of course, just like any commercial aircraft, Lufthansa's A321s have a small bathroom. There really isn't anything different to make any notes of. When I got back to my seat, I decided to check out the in-flight Wi-Fi. Just like on Lufthansa's long-haul flights, you can buy Wi-Fi service with miles or euros. The Wi-Fi website doesn't have any games or movies on it, but it does offer a lot of useful information about your destination. Things such as shopping, where to eat, things to do, and all that jazz. I found this to be very helpful because before this flight I had no idea what I was going to do in Sweden when I got there. So all in all, I think this is one of the best economy flights I've ever taken. Compared to the American service I'm used to, Lufthansa's cabin product is exceptional. Even though we didn't have an in-flight entertainment system on board this flight, Lufthansa's service definitely made up for it. I can easily see why Lufthansa is regarded as a great carrier among their long-haul and medium-haul flights. Unfortunately, this will be my last flight on Lufthansa for this Europe series, but I hope to fly with them again soon. Now for the one thing many of you have been waiting for, the price of this trip. I paid $162 for a one-way ticket. I'm sure you could find cheaper tickets on other airlines, but this ticket was part of my full trip from Chicago to Stockholm. I hope that by watching me today, everybody has a better understanding of Lufthansa's medium-haul economy class. Join me next time as I continue my journeys throughout Europe on a Norwegian Airlines flight to Prague. But with all that, I will end the video here. So take it away, sleep-deprived me. So we finally made it. Welcome to Stockholm, everyone. Now, the funny part is I've been awake for over 24 hours and I left my water bottle on the plane. And they said that I can't go back and get it because it's just a water bottle, nothing to worry about. But, oh well, it was a good water bottle. But that'll end this trip report for today. So be sure to like and subscribe, or don't, it's fine. But as always, have a wonderful day, everyone.